Ta-da. Welcome, everyone, to the Transform Your Relationship Show. Hi, I'm Laura Rubinstein with the awesome and fabulous Dr. Rhoberta Shaler. Hi, Rhoberta.
Hi, Laura. This is going to be an interesting connection that we're going to have today.
Isn't it? Because that's what communication's all about, and that's what today we're talking about.
Yeah, it's really important thing to think about is how we connect. I know when we have something to say or we have something to reach out with in text or email or whatever, how does it connect? Do we just send it or do we just say it or do we think about how does this enhance connection?
Yeah, I know. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about business or personal relationships. It applies across the board. And when we think about connection, what really makes for a good connection when you're communicating, right? That's what we want. What are these aspects we want to dive into?
Yes, well, connecting means first of all that we've thought about the other human. So that's an important piece because sometimes we just send out something because we want to. So
Yeah.
when it's intentional to connect, how's it going to land with the other person? Do we
Yeah.
actually have them in mind or we just say, I'm shooting you an email off the hip, and I'm not thinking about you at all, really. I just want you to have this information. And then we can get into talking about all the ways that this is used in ways that infuriate us because people are always sending us messages of, you really need to change your life and buy something from me that will do it. And that's not connection.
No, that's pushing something on someone. They call that push marketing. It's just somebody's pushing feelings or thoughts or concepts on you. And, that's like, and when that happens in business, it's like gaslighting for business. It's like, I'm telling you that you're not good enough the way you are and you need my product. So you're going to feel this way, that way, and the other way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I find it extremely offensive.
Yes.
Because people don't segment their marketing. So they're just sending to the entire list that they have, assuming everybody is in exactly the same spot. And then, I got one the other day that said, you could make more money if you took the relationship coach certification program.
Yeah.
Like,
They could make more money if they took your program, right?
but it was like, you don't know who I am.
Right.
Apparently, you have not segmented your market at all, your list, because now you're suggesting that A, I want to make more money. B, what I have, um, which is significantly more than the average relationship coach, is not enough, and they know what I need.
Right.
And so they're demonstrating that they don't know who I am. And that is not a good ploy.
No, in fact, a good test is like, do you feel when you're reading a marketing message or when you're reading it as if you're like you wrote something and you're reading it as if you're one of your target market? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel understood when you read that marketing message? Does it conjure up a good connection, right? That's what
Exactly.
how you want to,
Yeah.
right? Because too many experts, like you say, just all they do is they talk about what they about themselves and their wonderful accomplishments, and it gets you all excited because you want that too. But then they tell you what they think you need, and there's a total disconnect there if you really read it for what it is, if it's not
Mhm.
connecting, right?
That's true. And, our everything that we do, whether we open our mouths or we open our email or send a text or make a Facebook post, is us reaching out to somebody in order to make a connection. I mean, yes, when we put in our pizza order, that's one kind of connection. But, if we're not even talking about marketing messages, do we think about the recipient when we put something out there?
Right.
When we say something, when we come home to somebody, do we think about connecting or do we just walk in and say, I've had a terrible day and I'm going to bed?
Right.
Well, that is not connecting.
I really think what you made me feel actually is when someone comes home, I like to, like my husband comes home, I like to have listen for the space. I don't know if that makes sense, but like He's walking in the door. Is there space to connect? Maybe he's not in a space to connect, like really listening for, like, hi. And then how is the other person saying hi even? Is there
Mhm.
that sigh? Is there that hi? Or is there a big pause? You get a lot of information in that if you
Yeah.
listen, and then you can respond that you've seen or heard them.
Mhm. Like, even how they put down what they're carrying.
Yes.
The
There's
body
so
language,
much.
you know?
They're communicating something that if you want to connect to it, you have to listen, right? You have to see, hear, and listen. See, hear, and feel, I guess, and understand. Seek to understand what you're seeing and hearing. And then
Mm.
you can respond to connect. And it goes two ways, of course.
Well, I think what that also leads to is what I call transition time. Many times when I'm working with clients, I notice that they don't take any transition time.
Mm,
Humans, on the whole, don't, because they're running as fast as they can and they think that that equals success or trying hard or something, which I don't agree with. I don't think you should be running as fast as you can all the time.
no.
But transition time means that, you know, before you come in the door or you sit in the car before you come in and you purposefully leave behind where you've been and you change your mind to say, where am I going? Okay, I'm going in the house. So take your husband, for instance. I'm going in the house. I'm going to see my wife. I don't have anything I have to do tonight. This is really lovely. I'm looking forward to it. Now I have readied myself to move from one space to another. But we can also be that conscious that we do that. We're not just, okay, I left work and I'm running home and I haven't thought about it. And so we create transition time. Or you at home thinking, oh, my husband's coming home soon. Let me just stop and have a little think, what am I leaving behind in order to greet him? And I know I can almost hear eyes rolling as I say that, like, who does that? But if you really want to up your connection, you do that.
And I remember, the guy who wrote the Five Love Languages, Gary Smalley. It's a little cheesy, but at the same time, I
Gary
love doing
Chapman.
what?
Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman. Yes. So at the same time, I love um, what he said. I love doing. It's kind of over the top, but it's in the same vein of seeing and hearing somebody and making them feel like you see and hear them by making a big deal when they come in the door, like, "Oh, you're home." Like, I'm so excited. Like, and it also helps generate that energy to do what you just said, is to like transition from
Mhm,
whatever your process was before you got together with your new person in the home or whatever. It's like, ah, you're here. It's
mhm,
reminding me, like, oh, this person is a gift in my life. This person is really deserves, deserves my full attention. So I'm going to generate that.
mhm. Yeah, and Maya Angelou said it beautifully. She said, "The greatest gift you could give someone is to lighten up when they come into the room." Right? So if you light up when somebody comes into the room, just by your face, you've giving them your full attention and you're happy to see them. That's received in a whole other way than a grunt and you keep reading your book, right? There is connection. Your eyes meet.
Yes.
I tell my clients that one of the important practices is if you want your relationship to have a great connection, is to take that time when someone comes into the home or someone's leaving the home to look at each other and say some words and have a hug so that it's conscious. I recognize that you are going out into the world and I'm not going to see you for a bit. And I want you to take that with you, that I recognize that. And the same when people come in. And, again, I can hear eyes rolling like, oh, who does that? But people who want their relationship to be really strong actually make their relationship a priority. And here's
Yes.
one of the ways you do it.
And we're actually getting a lot of hearts and likes here. So thanks, Mo. Thanks for the hearts and light, and Kimberly and Lisa. Um, to make that conscious connection, it does not only something for them, but for you. It's like the point about it. It is marking time in a way. It is making that extra effort to, to have that conscious connection that allows you to savor a moment, right? And to
Mm-hmm.
remember and to make more meaning in life. Why not? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I don't think there's anything more exciting, and I may be totally delusional, Laura, but I don't think there's anything more exciting than the possibility of creating an emotionally intimate long-term relationship.
Mm,
Because you're constantly looking at the changes, the shadows, the nuances, you're reading each other, being curious about each other, speaking with each other, knowing when to fall silent, learning somebody else so that you actually become that team,
yes.
right? And
Hmm.
and you create in that relationship, you create this safe sanctuary for both of you and the children that you may have, or the animals you may have, or whatever, but you're creating that safe sanctuary for yourselves. And I don't think it's can be overrated. I think it's
No.
very important to do that consciously.
Especially in this day and age where we have so much anxiety, so much controversy, so much hate speech out there. We do need those safe havens, and we need to cultivate them so that people know that there's always a safe place for them to come to. And we need to cultivate them with each other. And even if if we can't get it in our families, we need to find people who are safe to get that connection with, right?
I agree. I think that we have families of choice. I don't have any family. I have my children and my grandchildren, but I don't have sisters or brothers or parents or aunts or uncles or cousins or any of those things. So my friends are my family of choice. And if I don't connect with them very purposefully and in this busy world make time for each other, then I am failing at creating my family.
Mm.
And that's important to me. You know, I this year, for the first time ever, I have 2 invitations to Thanksgiving, and that is the first time, like, ever since I've been in the United States.
Well,
Um,
wait a minute. You've had an invitation.
yes, I've had 1, but the first time I've had 2, I'm saying,
Ah,
right?
very nice, very nice.
Yes. So, like, that was a big moment, like, "Oh my goodness, 2 people want my presence on the same day."
Very nice.
Um, this has changed, this has shifted, right? So creating family and making it a priority, because my friends are my family, going places, doing things with them, making it something that we really enjoy, including each other in our celebrations or whatever, it's important. And that conscious connection is made in those times.
Yeah, and that's why I think, we have this human need to belong, and that's why this is important, that making this conscious connection, because it fills that need. It
Yeah.
makes the world feel like that safer, more connected, harmonious place where you can thrive. You can know that there is love out there, love for you. I mean, there's just nothing better than making that connection.
Exactly, and knowing who those people are. I was thinking about it the other day. I have friends who are human. It's quite amazing, and sometimes they behave less than wonderfully. And it's knowing that, okay, I know you. I know that that's not you. That's a little aberration. You're going through something, and it doesn't decrease the friendship, right? You get to that place where you know the person well enough to know that, yeah, that's not really who they are. They're just doing that because they're stressed or they're upset or they're thoughtless today. And it doesn't change the friendship. That's when you know that you've started to create conscious communications that really are leading to connection. Right, and they're not just people to have someone to do something with. They are really people that you care about.
And they may be having a bad day, and it's not like
Yeah,
it's going to go on and on as bad behavior type of thing and
mm,
impact you. So I know because you talk a lot about those kind of people.
I do. Yeah, I talk about those people a lot.
Yeah. So if
And I
somebody's never wanting to connect with you, it's all about themselves. They're just trying to push their thoughts or feelings on you. They're not creating connection.
no, no, they have no intention of creating connection. They want to create domination or control or manipulation, and they call that connection, but it isn't connection.
No. But somehow they have their finger wrapped around certain people. Um, and that the other people are connected to them, even though they're not getting their being seen or heard or understood. They're getting more of the negative attention.
Well, they are, but they're longing for love and they're looking for it in the wrong place.
Mm,
And it's never available there, but you keep hoping.
mm,
And we have to give up hopeism in those cases and face reality. It's not going to be different. Yeah, I know you'd like it to be different. You've had moments when it was different, but it's not going to be different because that person is not going to be different.
right.
And coming to that reality is really hard one for some people. It's really hard to say, okay, really, there's nobody home there, but I saw the windows open once or twice.
Yeah. And so being able to create relationships that actually connect when you're in one that isn't is kind of the next step towards really getting out of that, or
Yeah.
getting at least substituting or having some outlet where someone does connect with you,
Mhm.
and focus your energies there if you can.
Yes, and the whole thing is about consciousness. Do we stop and think about these things? Are they time fillers or are they real connections?
Mm,
What does the relationship bring you? Do you feel validated? Do you feel relieved? Do you feel stress-free? Do you feel known and seen and heard and acknowledged and appreciated and accepted, as I write about in Kaizen for Couples? That's a longing of people. William James, who is said to be the founder of New Psychology, he said this wonderful thing. He said, the deepest craving, I'm going to mess it up exactly how he said it, but the deepest craving of human nature is the desire to be appreciated.
mhm.
Now, how much does appreciation cost us? Nothing. I mean, to say thank you for doing that, or that felt really good when you did that, or I felt seen or known when you said that. That's feedback. That's saying to someone, "You got me. I understand. You understand who I am." And that's not cheating. I've talked before about how people say, "Well, if you really loved me, you'd know what I want." No, that is not
Oh, that's
the thing.
manipulation. Oh my God, that is so bad.
That
Yes.
is not a thing, everybody, not a thing. Um, so we do have to step up our willingness to connect through communication.
And give appreciation and acknowledgement. And I, to that end, Becky, good job. Yes, give up hope. I'm finally there.
Good for you, Becky, because when you're with a hijackal, the people I love to talk about, they don't have any love to give you. They're going to use you. And when you finally see that and you say, it's never going to be different, then at that moment, you have the opportunity to say, I'll grieve that, but I need to move on. And that's an important thing to say. If somebody needs to go, they need to go. And maybe that's you that needs to go, but maybe that's them that needs to go out of your life. Just, release them. You don't have to throw them out of your life. You can be like you have a butterfly in your hand and just, let them go. And I don't mean to make light of it by saying that, but it doesn't have to be anguish in the sense that, oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. It can be, no, I choose to. Like in last night's podcast, I was talking about um, the ways in which emotional blackmail plays out. And one of the empowering things that I talk about in Emerging Empowered, my membership community, is that when we say, I can't stand that anymore, I want people to say, oh no, I can withstand that. Like, I can withstand that. I can keep that at bay. I
Mm.
can have the power to keep that at bay. Not that I approve of it, not that I want more of it, not that I'm putting up with it or tolerating it, as you said, Laura, but I have the power to withstand that. I can be Teflon woman. I can let that fall off me. I do not need to take it, like, "Oh, there it goes again." No, I can stand there and say, "Nah, slipping off me like Teflon," right?
Doesn't impact me, doesn't push my buttons anymore. That's
No,
a sign of evolution, shall we say?
yes,
Or,
definitely.
as you say, emerging empowered, right?
Yes, absolutely, and when when people come to join in, today.com, they come to the community where they can talk among themselves on 6 different places that you may be in the stages of growth with this. And so you can be in the right place, you can be in the general forum, you can come to the 2 group Ask Me Anything calls with me every month, which is a big benefit of the membership. But it's being with people who know what you're going through. You're not alone. They can tell you how they felt. They can encourage you. They could walk behind you, walk in front of you, walk beside you. And it's a great place for that. And we need that. We need people who walk beside us when we're equal. We need people who walk ahead of us when we're fearful. And we need people who walk behind us to let us lead the way and shine. And that's what community does. No matter where we create it, whether it's one I created or whether you're creating it for yourself, that's what you want. You want people who encourage you, people who inspire you, people who can conspire with you, breathe together with you when things are not going so well, and people who have your back,
Yeah. And so what I love about the community you've created is that's a step towards making conscious connections.
right?
Learn how to connect with others in a safe forum that you've put together. So that emerging empowered community is invaluable for people.
Well, it certainly seems to be, and it's growing. Of course, it's fairly new, so it's growing. So as we get, more and more people, there's more and more discussion, and you can ask questions in there. I go in there and I answer people right in the forums, and you know, community is everything. Imagine living entirely alone with no connection, nobody to call, nobody to reach out to. Um, why would you impoverish yourself in that way? Now, you may have a fear of making connection. It maybe not has always been easy for you, but give yourself abundance. Reach out, have a few friends. A neighbor asked me the other day, "How do you meet all these women you have in your life?" I say, "Well, very purposefully. I know I need women in my life. I know I need women who are close. I know women who are, I could call at any time, women I'm connected to. Yes, I need all those people. And I'm particularly, from other women because we tend to build community and we want that connection. And everybody needs that. So do men. They need the same thing. We all
Absolutely.
need it.
We
It's
are human.
good for the soul to have people we connect with.
And Becky is very grateful for the friends she's gained too and the support. So
Right. Good,
nice. Thank
Becky.
you for sharing that, Becky. Really
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to have people who know you and know what you're going through. And in the case of the community, I've walked through it similarly. Because sometimes in my world, if you're dealing with a toxic person and you try to tell your friends who've never done it, they go, "Oh, it can't be that bad. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." Or, "Oh, don't talk to us about that again."
Mm,
And you wear your friends out because they don't understand. Well, go places that people understand you. Have friends who are on the same wavelength with you and make those connections, even if it requires some persistence. Because some people have enough friends, and then you want to be their friend, and you got to find time for that, and you have to be contributing something valuable to each other's life. So know that and do it. But also think about the people you have in your life. Are you actually consciously connecting with them? Because maybe
Mm.
there are some gems that you could also be mining at the same time.
So how do you know if you're really communicating with someone?
Well, they either ask you good questions or they demonstrate to you that they understood what you said, what you need, what you want, what you feel. So if your communication is a two-way street, it is not, we talk about I sent a communication. Well, if you look up the noun communication, it means you sent a letter, but no communicating naturally can be assumed. If you didn't get something back, you don't know where it landed.
It's a two-way proposition here.
Yes, absolutely. So we need to be communicating, not sending communications.
I like that distinction. Checking in to make sure the communication was received is one way to find out if, like, can you tell me what you just heard? Or if
Yeah.
they feed that back to you naturally, that's really great. So sometimes you
Mhm.
have to ask for that.
That's the really good point, Laura. Sometimes you have to ask. I'm not sure that you got what I'm requesting. Can we just check in around that? And don't feel like you can't do that. Because
Yeah.
if you want to be with a person who is going to have those three must-haves of a healthy adult relationship, equality and equity, reciprocity and mutuality, you need to be able to check in with them.
Yeah. Good signs. And we have a lot of good shows in the past that transform your relationships on Facebook. Transform Your Relationships Live on Facebook. And definitely check that out. Your Save Your Sanity podcast. And of course, the Emerging Empowered Community. So we're here for you. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks. Any last final pieces of wisdom about making connection? Because we're going to talk about how to do that next time.
Right. Just start thinking about where would you like to be this whole holiday season, which is all about connecting. How could you plan to have the best time of communicating and connecting possible?
Yes. And not through hope, but through proactive steps, which we'll talk about in
Yes,
our
we'll
coming
talk
weeks.
about that next time.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Becky. And she has a piece of advice, finding those who have experienced similar things. And I know that's what you do in the Emerging Empowered Community too.
Right. And there are lots of great places to do that.
Yeah.
So, yes, absolutely right, Becky.
Yeah.
Do
All
that.
right. We'll see you next time, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye for now.